Imagine a world where the boundary between your inner thoughts and the digital realm has, well, completely dissolved. Today, we're diving into a high-tech thought experiment in this explainer, looking at a pretty chilling reality. What exactly happens to our privacy when artificial intelligence can predict your next move before you even make it? Now, I know it sounds like pure speculative fiction, but it's deeply rooted in the mathematical realities and the massive server farms of modern data analysis. For decades, our relationship with technology was purely reactive. Machines just recorded our past. They logged our history. But we are rapidly moving way beyond that era of historical record keeping. We're stepping into a time where interconnected systems actively map, anticipate, and honestly even orchestrate our future behavior. So what if your next decision isn't actually yours? Traditionally, we think of privacy as a shield, right? Something protecting what we've already done. A confidential email sent to a colleague, a late-night website visit, a private bank transfer. But just look at how the algorithms powering modern social media networks are operating right now. They don't just wait around for you to type in a search query, no way. They analyze the micro-hesitations in your scrolling. They measure milliseconds of screen time just to feed you the exact video that'll trigger a dopamine hit and keep you completely hooked. Now scale that mechanism up to cover literally every aspect of your life. What happens when an algorithm can accurately anticipate an action you haven't even consciously decided to take yet? The scary truth is, true digital privacy basically vanishes the very second your choices are mathematically mapped out in advance. Which leads us to a fundamental shift. Section 1. The death of spontaneity and the end of unpredictable human action. Historically, human behavior has always been beautifully unpredictable. We change our minds at the last second. We act on sudden, totally inexplicable whims. We embrace the irrational. We're a little chaotic, and honestly, because of that, we are fundamentally free. That inherent unpredictability, that's the absolute essence of human spontaneity. But against that, we now have the immense power of algorithmic prediction. And this force is cold, it's calculating, and it's relentlessly driven by vast oceans of historical data. As AI gets exponentially better at analyzing our digital footprints, processing literally billions of data points across global networks in real time, it steps right into the realm of perfectly mapping our next steps. So the beautiful, chaotic nature of our spontaneity is put under this massive mathematical microscope. It gets dissected variable by variable until we become nothing more than a highly predictable equation. Which begs the question, if your next move is known, is it still spontaneous? Picture this highly plausible scenario in the very near future. You wake up and before your feet even hit the bedroom floor, a predictive algorithm has already routed your morning commute to avoid a traffic jam it mathematically knows is going to happen. It's pre-ordered your coffee based on stress biometric data synced from your smartwatch from the night before. And it's already queued up news articles perfectly tailored to a cognitive state you haven't even fully registered yet. In a purely anticipatory system like this, your digital footprint isn't just a trail of breadcrumbs you leave behind. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a heavily paved road constructed directly in front of you. It's steering your life while giving you the very convincing illusion that you're the one driving. To really understand this profound loss of freedom, we have to look under the hood. Section 2, Anticipating the Unseen, and how exactly AI looks into your future. The progression here fundamentally relies on the architecture of modern neural networks and deep learning models. It boils down to 3 steps. Step 1 is observation. This is immense, pervasive observation. Every single click, every location ping, your typing speed, your purchasing habits, all of it is just continuously ingested into these complex, deep learning layers. And these networks don't just store flat data. They use interconnected nodes to find invisible, nonlinear correlations between millions of seemingly totally unrelated variables. That feeds into step 2, prediction. Here, the system mathematically models your likelihood of taking a certain action based on pure statistical probabilities. But step 3 is the massive conceptual leap, anticipation. This is where the AI completely transcends mere guessing. It actively alters the digital environment to accommodate your action before you even consciously realize your own intent. It prepares the outcome before the desire is even fully formed in your mind. And this results in a profound, frankly unsettling reality. Knowing the action before the actor does. This right here is the true hidden threat to modern privacy. If an algorithm is processing these millions of variables in a fraction of a millisecond, using computing power that completely dwarfs the human brain, it reaches a mathematical conclusion about your behavior way before your conscious mind even commits to a choice. The machine knows your destination before you've even considered packing your bags. It absolutely outpaces human consciousness, operating right there in the unseen margins of our decision-making process. This pushes us right out of computer science and straight into highly controversial territory. Section 3, the pre-crime concept, judging actions that haven't happened yet. So, pre-crime logic. This is the conceptual framework where an algorithm anticipates and accounts for a user's action before it actually occurs. It takes the idea of predictive modeling to its extreme, dystopian logical conclusion. From the perspective of experts analyzing digital ethics, treating a statistical probability as a present reality is a massive, massive violation of our fundamental rights. Just imagine a system that assigns a 95% probability that you're going to commit corporate fraud or default on a loan or maybe attend an unsanctioned protest. If the system reacts to that probability by freezing your bank accounts or restricting your travel today, it fundamentally bypasses human agency. Instead of reacting to a real event that actually happened, the system intervenes based on a simulated future that only exists on some server somewhere.
Can privacy exist if your future intentions are already calculated? I mean, just let that sink in for a second. How on earth do you protect the privacy of thoughts and actions you haven't even committed to yet? When massive data leaks happen today, the collateral damage is mostly tied to our past, right? Exposed passwords, archived messages, historical financial records. But consider the absolutely devastating risk if a predictive algorithm's core database is compromised. That kind of leak isn't just about what you did yesterday. No, it is an exposure of your predictive profile. It's a highly accurate roadmap of exactly what you are statistically guaranteed to do tomorrow, next week, or even next year. It turns the entire concept of personal privacy completely inside out, making our future vulnerabilities just as tragically visible as our past mistakes. And this brings us to a terrifying psychological threshold. Section 4, the illusion of choice. Are we just following the algorithm's script? The deep conceptual consequences of this predictive logic systematically erode our autonomy. First off, privacy is bypassed before actions even happen. The moment a system successfully anticipates your needs, the shield of privacy is yanked away before the sword is even swung. Because the digital world seamlessly molds itself to your predicted desires, your daily decisions begin to feel entirely predetermined. And this slowly hollows out your internal sense of agency. Finally, the boundary between independent thought and guided action completely blurs. When an artificial intelligence flawlessly predicts what you want to read, what you want to buy, or even what political ideology you might adopt, and then effortlessly serves those stepping stones right up to you, the distinction between making an independent choice and simply walking down a heavily paved algorithmic road becomes dangerously, dangerously blurred.
We are living in a constant hidden tension between the illusion of choice and the reality of surveillance. On a day-to-day basis, interacting with our sleek devices, we feel like we're navigating our digital lives freely, right? Making independent, spontaneous decisions. We feel like we're completely in control. But a purely predictive system requires total data dominance. Arguments against this level of total data control point out that the comforting facade of personalization actually masks a vast global surveillance apparatus. It is a massive digital dragnet that relies on tracking literally every granular detail of human existence, from your heart rate to your search history, just to continuously fuel and refine its predictive models. The system basically operates like a digital mirror, reflecting a future it has already calculated, leaving us to merely act out a script written by invisible code.
Which leads us to a definitive and pretty sobering reality. Section 5, a future without secrets, the ultimate consequence of predictive AI. The foundational requirement for privacy is structurally incredibly simple. Privacy requires the unknown. For a secret to exist at all, there must be a space of absolute unpredictability. Predictive AI systematically dismantles that foundation by flooding the dark corners of human behavior with statistical light. However, and this is absolutely crucial, this is precisely where digital defense mechanisms become our most important tool. Robust end-to-end encryption isn't just about hiding a quick text message. It's about introducing mathematical noise into the predictive system. By encrypting our data, utilizing decentralized privacy-focused networks, actively opting out of data harvesting, and strictly compartmentalizing our digital lives, we inject chaos back into the algorithm. We actively block these predictions by essentially starving the neural networks of the pristine, structured data they so desperately need. This artificially reintroduces that vital, unknown space where human freedom actually lives.
In a world where your next move is perfectly predicted, what is exactly left to hide? Understanding the underlying architecture of these surveillance systems really is the only way to protect whatever spontaneity we still have left. So the choice, if it's still truly yours, is what you decide to do next.